Hey guys, how are you doing? I'm richly blessed. Pray that you are as well. All right, so back in 2021, I did not realize it was that long ago, but back in the olden days of this channel, I did a review of the Slate Digital All Access Bundle. That is their plugin subscription bundle that gives you access to all of their plugins. And I did a review of it and talked about what it had to offer. Well, 5 years have passed and they have made a bunch of adjustments and changes to the way that they handle their bundles, to the things that are in the bundles. And so I thought it would be a good time 5 years later to come back and take a look at it and see if it is still worth it. Am I still using the Slate Digital stuff? Is it worth it for you to use it? If you're a new user coming in and you are looking for a plugin subscription bundle, is Slate Digital still a viable option for you? We're going to talk about that right now.
At McCrae Music.
All right, guys, here we are on Slate Digital's website. And if we scroll down a little bit here, they also offer, they do modeling microphones and other things. So you'll see more than just plugins on their site. If you scroll down here, we are going to see plugins. And if we keep going, we're going to see that there are now two different sets of plugin subscriptions. All right. We have the regular all access pass, which is what I reviewed 5 years ago. There are some new things even in that, but this is going to give you over 80 plugins. This is going to give you access to their assisted mastering service. I haven't used that yet, so I won't really speak on that. It's going to give you access to some classes, to a bunch of samples and things. And then also, if you have one of their modeling microphones, to a bunch of their virtual microphones. All right. But now they also offer something called the Complete Access Bundle. Now, those of us who have been Slate Digital subscribers, you probably remember when they upgraded us to this, right? So if you were already on board, you got this upgrade right away. And this is going to take all the stuff that's in the All Access Pass, which we'll take a closer look at some of those plugins in a moment, and it's going to add all of the solid state logic or SSL plugins and the Harrison plugins. So now you have over 140 different plugins plus all the stuff offered in the All Access Pass, right? So a lot of new stuff is going on here, and that is really cool. Let's take a look at some of the plugins that are available specifically in just the Access Pass, and then I'll show you some things in an actual session, and we'll see some of the SSL plugins and Harrison plugins and things that are available. So let's take a look. I'm going to just come up to the top here, and I'm going to go to plugins, and let's just look at all of the plugins, and let's see what we've got. And you can look through here. And like I said, some of these are going to emulate actual analog hardware. Others are not. You have pretty much everything that you could need in here, right? So we have a bunch of different compressors, the virtual mix rack. The cool thing about the virtual mix rack now is that they have taken pretty much all or the majority of the virtual mix rack plugins and they have made them standalone, right? So if you don't want to load up the full virtual mix rack on a channel and maybe there's just a compressor or an EQ or a specific plugin you want, you can just use that by itself, right? So that is really cool. We have all of this stuff in here. We have some delays happening in here, right? Then they have a bunch of plugins that are not modeling hardware that are proprietary to them, such as Submerge, which is a cool side chaining plugin. You also have Heatwave, which is a saturation plugin. Meta Pitch, which I think I did a review on. I might not have done that. I know I did Meta Tune. Infinity Bass, right? That is really cool. Storch Filter. So there's a bunch of different plugins in here, and you can scroll through and see all those. So you get all of this. Just here's Metatune right here. Amazing plugin. I like that. Fresh Air. So you get all of these with just the regular access pass, the complete access, or the all access pass, I should say. All right. Now, if we take a look, and I'm actually going to show you the pricing here first before we go over to Luna, and I'll show you some of the other plugins that are available. If we take a look at the pricing here, you are going to see, and I don't know how long this is going to last, but right now, the complete access bundle is the exact same pricing as the all access pass, right? I'm assuming at some point the all access pass is going to either become less expensive. That's what I would think. Or possibly this package will become more expensive, right? But right now, whichever one you get is $19.99 a month, or if you want to pay upfront for the year, it's $200 for the year. All right. And it's the same pricing. Let me see if I can go to the screen that actually shows them both as being the same price. Let's go to compare plans. I believe that's where we see them as the same price, right? So check it out, right? They're both literally the same price right now, right? This is saying 2 subscriptions for the price of 1, which leads me to believe at some point the complete access bundle might become a little bit more pricey. But you can see here, if I switch between these, price doesn't change, right? Well, actually, it changes for the year. So the all access is $150 for the year. But the monthly price for both of them is the same $20. Okay. So if you're just starting out with this, there is no reason to not go with the complete access bundle if that is if you want to start in with a Slate Digital subscription. Just go with that because it's the exact same price. Now, if you're paying for the year and you want to save the $50, maybe you don't use the SSL plugins or the Harrison plugins, then just go with the all access pass. But price isn't that different, right? We're talking about a very small difference in price between these two. So I would jump on that now if I were you, because I would imagine that's going to change at some point in time. Let me pull up Luna real quick. And this is an actual mix that I just completed not too long ago. And if we look through here, you can see I am still using the Slate Digital plugins, right? I got the virtual tape machine on my mix bus. I've got lustrous plates here that I'm using. What else we got in here? I've got the repeater that I'm using here. That's a Slate Digital plugin. If you scroll through here, you'll see different instances. I'm not using it as much on my vocal chain as I used to. But in my recording session, I am using the virtual mix rack and the distressor plugin specifically on pretty much all my vocal channels. So everything comes into my mix already kind of passing through that. We got Metatune working in here. Here's the virtual mix rack, virtual mix rack, virtual mix rack, right? So I am still virtual mix rack, right? I am still actively using the Slate Digital plugins, although I'm using them differently than I was when I initially made that video. They are still very, very prevalent in my sessions, right? Now, if we go over here to plugins, let's just take a look here and let's collapse some of these here. And let's just look at all the things you get in addition to the Slate Digital plugins if you get the complete access bundle here, all right? So here, as I'm still collapsing stuff, here's my Slate Digital stuff. Let's go ahead and collapse that too. Here's all my Slate Digital stuff. Boom. So we get all of this. Look at all that stuff in there. And again, some of these, I have both the AU and VST3 instances of plugins loaded on Luna, so that it's kind of, more than what it actually is. But we have all of this stuff in here. Some of these are the standalone versions of the virtual mix rack plugins, as I mentioned before, and that, everything is right there. So that's all the Slate Digital stuff. Okay. But then again, if we are dealing with the complete access bundle, we get the SSL stuff. Look at all these SSL plugins. That is really cool. Look at all these. And I am using these at different places in my mix as well. I have the native bus compressor on my mix bus here, right? If we scroll through, sometimes I fiddle around with some of the reverbs or delays that they have. I pretty much on every mix on my drum bus, I'm using the native drum bus, right? I have started using the channel strip, right? So I use a lot of these, right? So all this stuff is here. A lot of these, honestly, I have not even gotten to play around with yet because, when I'm in mixing mode, I'm usually not playing around with new stuff. I'm using the things I know to get done the things I need to get done in that moment. So I'm gonna go through and start playing around with some of these others, but this is all great stuff in here, right? And then now we also have these Harrison audio plugins. I really have not used many of these either. I haven't got a chance to play with them. But again, look at all the stuff that we get, all as a part of that complete access bundle. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so the $1,000,000 question, of course, is this package still worth it? And I would say yes, depending on the type of user or the type of person that you are. And what I mean by that is if you already have plugins that do the things that you need to do, because there are different emulations of the SSL plugins. Waves has different ones. Plugin Alliance has different ones. Pretty much everyone has some kind of emulation of these SSL plugins, right? I will say the SSL plugins here, these are the official SSL plugins from SSL, right? So I haven't compared them per se, but I will say there are definitely features in some of these plugins that do not exist in some of the emulated versions of them, right? So if you are satisfied with, maybe you are already using the SSL channel strip or bus compressor or things like that, you have that as part of other packages, maybe you might not need this as much. If you're not interested in analog emulation, or maybe and you have other things that are doing what you need to do, you might not necessarily need to get the full package. You might consider maybe going in and buying maybe a couple of plugins from Slate, using that. You might consider going in and just buying maybe the specific plugin you want. If they offer a perpetual license for that from Slate, maybe you might consider doing that, okay? However, if you do not have access to the SSL stuff already, you do not have access to the Harrison stuff already, and you are interested in using the Slate Digital plugins, I think this is a package that's definitely worth it for you to pick up. And then also, if you are a new user, if you are just getting into this and you're kind of trying to figure out what this plugin stuff is all about, and you are trying to decide which package to go to, and you need kind of a toolbox, jack of all trades kind of package, I would highly, highly, highly recommend going with the Slate Complete Access Bundle. I have been a Slate customer, as you can see here, for many years, and I will say that the way they continue to support, the way they continue to add stuff, the way they don't hit you with the, oh, now you have to pay an extra fee to upgrade because it's a new version of the operating system cheese that some other companies like to hit you with. The way that they have now bundled the initial stuff that they had with all of the other packages and did not really change their pricing at that much at all. I think it went up maybe $4 or $5 a month. I would definitely recommend as a new user to go ahead and try this out. They do have a 14-day free trial. Check it out. Everything that you need is in there. Not only that, but you also get access to samples. I didn't even talk about the music production aspect of this, the Anna 2 synth. There's a bunch of sample packs and just tons of things that are going to help you in your music production as well. So if you're a new user, go ahead and jump in, give the free trial a try and see if you like it. If you are an existing user of other things and you want the SSL stuff and everything, come over here because it's right there and it's really good. And if you're someone who already has your SSL needs met, already has your other plugin needs met, I don't know that you're going to want to add another $20 a month of plugin subscriptions if you already have those different things. All right? So I hope this video has been helpful to you. Go to Slate Digital's website, description. The link is in the description. I was going to say description is in the link. That's not how the English language works, Ed. Link is in the description. Go ahead and click on that. Check it out. Again, they do offer a 14-day free trial, so you can test it out. If you already have some SSL stuff, try it out, A/B it. All right, the official SSL stuff with the emulations that other providers have, and you can see if you notice a difference. You might decide that you want to make the switch. All right, please feel free to like this video and subscribe to this channel, and jump in the comment section. How do you guys feel about the Slate Digital plugins? Have you run into any issues with them? Are there things that you are wanting them to do? Do you have other plugin packages or other things you would like for me to review or talk about on this channel? Leave all that stuff in the comment section. I love interacting with you guys, and I'll definitely respond to you in some kind of way. All right, see you guys again soon for another video. Peace. Thanks for watching. Hey, here's some other content you might want to check out. Just a suggestion, no pressure. Feel free to watch whatever you want on the channel. Also, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button? That way you can be notified when new videos are coming out. And feel free to hit that join button too for members only content in the control room. See you next time.